The wall's going to get built, folks. Just in case anybody has any question, the wall's going to get built, and the wall is going to stop drugs, and it's going to stop a lot of people from coming in that shouldn't be here, and it's going to have a huge effect on human trafficking, which is a tremendous problem in this world, a problem that nobody talks about, but it's a problem that's probably worse than any time in the history of this world. Human trafficking, what's going on. The wall is going to get built. We definitely, desperately need the wall. And we're going to have the wall built. I mean, I don't know what people are talking. I watch these shows and the pundits in the morning. They don't know what they're talking about. The wall gets built, 100%.
By the way, we have the lowest illegal immigration rate in 17 years because this president is actually enforcing the laws. Now, that was the president earlier today saying, yes, the border wall will be built. And earlier today, a federal judge, shocking, in San Francisco, blocked the president's executive order to withhold money to sanctuary cities. We continue with the editor-in-chief of Life Zeth, nationally syndicated radio host, Fox News contributor, Laura Ingraham. You know, I'm going to go through the list of accomplishments of the president in the next segment here. And I guess what's so interesting about this is, all right, so we have a continuing resolution. Democrats threatened to shut down the government on Friday or Saturday. The president says, all right, I'll take funding for the wall off the table. And everyone's like, he's given up on the wall. No, he hasn't.
Well, I think that one thing I know for sure, Sean, is that we have way too many people on Capitol Hill who aren't on the president's side on this issue. And I'm talking Republicans. So I have no doubt in my mind that Donald Trump wants this wall to be built. Congress has to appropriate the money. I heard over 2 months ago that GOP leadership, the most senior senators on Capitol Hill, and I heard it from someone who was in the room with them, they were laughing at the idea that a wall would ever get built, out loud laughing, basically telling this source of mine, don't worry about that, it's never going to happen. So they're actively working against the goal of this president that was, I think, among his most popular pledges to the country. He pledged this over and over and over again to raucous applause. And the trade issues that he's being really aggressively pursuing, which I'm so happy about, his agenda should be supported by the Republicans on Capitol Hill. They couldn't find $1 billion to put down a down payment? That's ridiculous. Because,
you know, it's funny, Obama's president, they're afraid Obama will blame him for shutting down the government. Now, Trump's president, they're still afraid of their own shadow, and I'll get to that in a second here. To me, though, and I was glad to hear the president so adamantly say, we're building the wall, because if he doesn't fulfill that promise, I think that would be the equivalent of George Herbert Walker Bush, read my lips, no new taxes.
No, they'll kill him with that. They'll kill him with that. The Democrats will kill him with it, and a Republican challenger who, you know, if someone ever primaries Donald
Ryan,
Trump,
maybe?
I'm telling you, the Republican leadership
it took you a second.
They don't want this wall to be built, period.
I agree. Now that brings me to my next criticism, and that is, okay, they wanted the House in 2010, the Senate in 2014.
Oh, yeah.
They were not prepared when Donald Trump won. And how they didn't have a health care bill. Now, my understanding is they now have one. Thankfully, the Freedom Caucus, the Tuesday group, the Saturday drinking group, the Moderate Caucus, the study group, they all came together. We finally, it looks like we have a deal, and the president will sign it. Then they'll send it to the Senate. But the fact that they weren't prepared really annoys me.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
I mean, there is no way to spin this. And Democrats, I think, you know, are levying a lot of unfair criticism against Republicans, and that's just the way the game is played. But this one is, frankly, a fair criticism. 8 years later, and the Republicans are still, you know, messing around with the provisions and trying to figure it out. It looks juvenile. I'm sorry. It looks like total Mickey Mouse Club stuff. And Paul Ryan, you know, I like Paul Ryan. I like all these people personally, but you're supposed to be this big legislative genius. You're supposed to know your caucus. And
Laura,
then push comes to shove.
He never showed anybody the bill. He never built any consensus on the bill.
Yeah.
And then he's shocked, oh, I can't get the bill passed. It's beyond frustrating. And this bill, frankly, could have been better in its original rollout.
Right.
Why didn't
Well,
he bring caucus members in? Why didn't he bring study group people into the process?
It was a cram down, because it was a cram down. They wanted to cram it down and wanted to put so much pressure on these Freedom Caucus members that brought to bear on them that they would quake in their boots and quiver and say, oh, God, we'll do anything. And they didn't realize that they were up against...
But then Mark Meadows has to fix the mess. Is this now going to be the future? Are they going to do this on the budget tomorrow? Are they going to do this on every other agenda item?
Well, I think unless Donald Trump really personally gets involved to even a greater extent than he's already been involved, I think this will continue. I think they've got to get back to normal course budgeting. Each department, this is how much you get for defense, this is how much you get for energy, you don't get a penny more. Each department should have its budget, each budget voted on, and that is it. This continuing resolution, brinksmanship with the government shutdown is another embarrassing point of government for the United States of America. And the Republicans have no one to blame right now but themselves for it.
All right, Laura Ingraham, as always, thank you for being with us.
Great to see you.